Welcome back. You're watching Network Africa. A 750-kilometer railway line linking Ethiopia's capital Addis Ababa and the Red Sea state of Djibouti is being formally inaugurated today. A Chinese-built project is at the center of plans to create new manufacturing industries, improve transport, and further open landlocked Ethiopia. Logistical difficulties such as poor roads and old fleet of trucks mean transporting goods from the capital to Djibouti, which handles a large amount of Ethiopia's imports and exports, can take days. A new railway line will cut the journey to under 10 hours. A fully electrified and environmentally friendly project will also replace a diesel-powered Addis Ababa-Djibouti line built by the French from the 1800s and is now barely functional. Ethiopia is seeking to have at least 5,000 kilometers of new lines working across the country by the year 2020.
Trans-African railway network. So it will give an opportunity for connecting Ethiopia with another neighboring countries, and it will minimize the cost of the transport and the transport time, and it's free from pollution, it uses renewable energies and so on.
A UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, MINUSCO, says it's taken note of the 7-day deadline set by the government for the removal from the country of 750 fighters loyal to South Sudan's former Vice President Riek Machar. MINUSCO spokesperson Felix Prosper Bassey says the UN is trying to find a solution, though he does not know how long it's going to take. The DR Congo government cited security concerns when they demanded that Riek Machar's men be flown out of the country. Vice Chancellor at the Federal University Oyekiti, Professor Kayode Shoyemekun, joins me now. Professor Shoyemekun's specialty is actually political science. Professor, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm Arachi Bani. Although I can barely hear you, there's so much noise in the background there.
Oh dear, we do apologize for that. Something must be wrong with the network, but we'll try our best. So how much of an impact do you think the UN mission in the DRC is making in the recent political crisis?
Oh, come again, please. Come again, please.
How much of an impact do you think that the UN mission in the DRC is making in the recent political crisis in the country?
Well, I believe that in the first instance, it's a good thing that the UN mission is there. At least that is suggestive of an effort by the official global community to intervene in the processes there with a view to bringing peace to that part of the world. And I believe that if they really fulfill their mandate very well, DRC will be seeing better days ahead. And in saying this, I hope I've not been overtly optimistic or being simplistic in my notions. The drive for peace, in the ultimate sense, will have to come from the internal actors in the DRC. The global community, as embodied in the United Nations Peacekeeping Force, can only help. They can only catalyze the process. The onus of peace really lies on the various political gladiators within the DRC itself.
Yeah, and President Joseph Kabila will be remaining in power, it seems, until elections are conducted in 2018. How badly do you think that the political crisis could get in the DRC up until then?
Well, it's a pity that Kabila Jr. is intent on staying back, on holding on to power, which is a commonplace enough phenomenon in the African continent. One can only hope that in terms of trying to hold on to power, that will not worsen the political climate in the DRC. Hoping that at the end of the day, we will see reason and do the needful, and in the process, take cognizance of the historical processes in that country, with a view to saying that if he gives way, he'll be helping himself, he'll be helping the DRC, and be helping the entire African continent.
Professor, this is a common occurrence, it seems, for many African countries trying to get democracy right. What do you think is the problem?
Well, I think the problem is that more often than not, power is linked to economic resources. And to that extent, people think once they're out of power, they'll be out of the loop as far as economic resources are concerned. And then you have to also understand the historical dynamics and trajectories, in the sense that for a long time, the Western world, or better still, the status quo forces in the international system, they more or less encouraged dictatorship. And to that extent, that became more or less a norm in the African continent. Because democracy is not like instant coffee. It's something you would have had to learn over time, in which traditions would have been cultivated, political cultures would have been entrenched. But in the case of Africa, we came into independence, so-called, not on our own terms, but on terms dictated by external forces.
Professor Shirameku,
continue to modulate and determine the direction of events in the country. But in saying this, I'm not trying to excuse some of the demos in the continent.
But Professor Shirameku, thank you so much. That there is a lot to say about the DRC. I appreciate you joining us on Network Africa, and I appreciate your contribution to the program. President Robert Mugabe is at it again, consolidating his power over the country, this time fixing his son-in-law, Simba Cherokee, as second-in-command at the state-owned Air Zimbabwe. Simba is married to Mugabe's daughter, Bona Mugabe, and as second-in-command, he will be reporting to the son of Zimbabwe's late Vice President, Simon Muzenda. This is President Mugabe's move to help the country overcome its financial crisis. The country is already neck-deep in a £300 million debt. The opposition is against the appointment, demanding to know when and how interviews were conducted and what sort of qualifications, professional, if any, that Mr. Simba does have, as well as his work experience. To Egypt now, where the health ministry has announced that more than 800,000 people have been treated for hepatitis C since January this year, a proof that the country's campaign preventing the spread of the disease is working well. At an event to mark the Egyptian Liver Day, one of the organizers told journalists that he expects the North African state to be free from the virus by 2020. And that's where we end Network Africa today. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani.